Hello and welcome to our live training on calculating and uploading non-SSN GPAs and web grants for high school counselors. This webinar is the second in a two-part series, and we're just going to jump right into it. So in today's agenda, we're first going to talk about calculating GPAs. We're going to move on to GPA tools and the file layouts. We're going to talk about creating and uploading the text file. Then we're going to move on to manual GPA submission, and we're going to finish it up with the next steps. So calculating GPAs. The California Education Code mandates that all public and charter high schools upload GPAs for their seniors by October 1st of each year. They also have to provide their students and parents with an opt-out option no later than January 1st of the student's junior year. Most of the times we kind of recommend this to be a passive option. So instead of saying, hey, submit this form if you'd like us to opt you in for it, you should ask them to have a form the parents would fill out and submit to you to opt out, right? Because most of the time these students really don't want to opt out. It really doesn't hurt them. It's just a requirement you have to provide them. So stick with the passive approach. So then you have to verify high school graduation by August 31st of the academic year following graduation. So the sunset of SSN GPA uploads. So beginning with the high school senior class of 2020, the commission will remove the capability for schools to upload student GPAs using social security numbers and web grants. Although we will continue to offer ongoing training for the non-SSN GPA upload method. So schools should ensure their student information systems, such as Aries, PowerSchool, Illuminate, Infinite Campus, have the capabilities to produce GPA files in text. That's .txt format without SSNs. We really do suggest that you contact your vendor directly, as we have no expertise on these systems. The Commission will offer live webinar training on a continuous basis to assist schools that are new to this process or need a refresher, so please check our training page on a regular basis to see the upcoming webinars. So for the academic year checklist, in September, it's recommended that you provide demographic verification forms to seniors in preparation for the upload. In October, starting October 1st, that is the deadline to upload the 2020-21 GPAs for your current seniors and prior year seniors. So between October and March, really suggest you outreach weekly to students with unmatched GPAs and missing or incomplete financial aid applications. We want to make sure that they're matching in the system and that they submitted an application. And then we really recommend that you edit and match GPAs weekly within your WebGrants account. In January 1st, you should have already provided the GPA opt-out form to the juniors and their parents so that if they chose to opt out, they could have done so already. In March 2nd, it's the last chance for the final GPA uploads to be entered into our system. So mainly we're talking about transfer students and students who had to do makeup credits. In May, the 21-22 GPA upload functionality opens, and then in August, specifically August 31st, is the deadline to verify high school graduation. Now, the students can do this, but a lot of times they either miss this requirement in their Web Grants or Students account, so we really would encourage all sites to do it for their students if they're able to do so within Web Grants. So we're going to take a second to talk about entitlement versus competitive awards. Entitlement awards are guaranteed for students who meet financial and merit requirements. There are unlimited amount of awards, which means that if the student meets the financial and merit requirements, they will get one of these awards. The deadline to apply is March 2nd for both the application, being the FAFSA or DREAM Act application, and the GPA upload deadline is the same. There's one exception, and that is for the Cal Grant B for foster youth students. If they're filling out an application and they're going to a California community college, their deadline is actually September 2nd, and they would be considered for 4 additional years. Now, the first entitlement is the high school entitlement, which is for seniors and prior year grads. This is going to stay with that traditional GPA, which is going to be for Cal Grant A 3.0, and a Cal Grant B, a 2.0. That's the merit requirement. And then for transfer entitlement, this is for students who transfer directly from a California community college to a 4-year university, and they are also under the age of 28 by December 31st of the award year. This merit requirement for A and B is a 2.4 GPA. Students enrolled in the California Community College Bachelor Program are also eligible for the Entitlement 2 award. And then there's a competitive cycle, which is much different. There are 300,000 plus students applying for the competitive award, and this pretty much encompasses everyone who is not considered for a high school entitlement or transfer entitlement award. There are only 41,000 awards offered annually, and it's really important to know that this is not great odds for the students. So if they're eligible to be considered for entitlement, you should really make sure that they're filling out their applications in a timely fashion. But something that's new this year that's actually quite exciting is that students with AB 540 status, which are really your dreamer students, are now eligible for competitive awards. We really recommend that you upload GPAs for any of the following populations. The first one being current and prior year seniors. So the current and prior year grads have 2 years to qualify for the high school entitlement Cal grant, which is that first one we're talking about. Each year, upload GPAs for both of them, both the seniors and the prior year graduates, in 2 separate batches by October 1st, right? We don't want them mixed into each other. So any student who transferred to your school after GPAs were uploaded, please make sure that you're inputting them. Don't do a whole new upload. Just add them into your WebGrants account as individual file inputs. And any other senior or prior year grad who was not captured in the initial upload, we know that sometimes a student slips through, so we highly recommend that you ensure that all the students' GPAs are uploaded into WebGrants. And then the last one, any former student who submits a GPA verification form, sometimes the student is a few years out and they'll request that of you, please just do so, and please try to do it in like a timely fashion if you can. So for the different grades and how you calculate them, this is how it's going to go. For current seniors, you're going to be talking about 10th grade and 11th grade and the summers following those grades as part of their GPA calculation. For your last year graduates, it's the same thing, 10th, 11th, but you also get to include 12th year grades and the summer after 12th grade as well. And then for a graduating junior, you're talking about 10th grade and the summer after 10th grade. We're not including first year or 9th grade GPA calculations into the mix. So for the high school GPA calculation, please use the unweighted 4.0 GPA scale. Please include failing grades unless they're retaken and passed. If they retake it in their senior year, you can include that as part of the 1 year out upload. However, you cannot include that in the current upload if they are currently a senior. This excludes grades from PE, ROTC, and remedial courses. Do not submit duplicate or multiple GPAs. It skews GPA reports and race submit results. It also is really hard to navigate through. So we really recommend that you do not submit duplicates. Just add additional ones in for anyone that you might have missed, and you can input them right into the system directly. And then for the GPA calculation instructions, please just go to this URL here and you'll have all the GPA calculation instructions that you need. So for the GPA upload window, while October 1st is the deadline for high school GPAs, the upload functionality opens in May of every year. So if you're able to get it in earlier, we highly suggest you do. It kind of gets you some wiggle room to work with any mistakes or hardships you may come across. So the Commission urges all high schools to upload early. And for duly enrolled students, high school GPAs for students who are duly enrolled in high school and a community college should be uploaded before community college uploads the GPAs, usually close to the start of a fall term. High school GPAs, not California community college GPAs, should be matched to high school entitlement applicants, right? Because we want these students to be ran as an entitlement student, which has to be matched to a high school GPA. So what about students who do not have a GPA? Students, not schools, can submit proof of passing a high school equivalency test such as the GED, SAT, ACT, high school equivalency test, which is referred to as the HiSET, and the test assessing secondary completion. Test scores instead of a GPA if the school is not accredited, if the school grades were based on pass or fail, or the student was homeschooled. Students cannot use test scores in lieu of GPA, so if a student has a GPA, then a student must use their GPA. The Commission will convert those test scores into a 4.0 GPA scale. So please keep that in mind. So for last names and GPAs, how can you help? We highly recommend that you emphasize the importance of using the same naming conventions consistently across everything that they're going to be using to apply for college, right? So this is going to be the high school records and transcripts, which are going to be mainly for the GPA uploads, the California Dream Act application and the FAFSA, and the college applications. We highly recommend that you collect demographic information forms from seniors prior to uploading GPAs, and you instruct them to use the same name they provide you with consistently with both their college application and their financial aid application. And this is a big ask for the schools, but we ask you to review non-SSN GPA status reports weekly and resolve unmatched GPAs, because we really need a student's application to match to a GPA in order for a Cal Grant or a different award to be processed. So resolving unmatched GPAs is a campus responsibility. So the race to submit data is calculated from a number of matched GPAs compared to the senior enrollment. The dashboard will initially display senior enrollment for the previous year. The winners of the race to submit will be based off of current year senior enrollment as soon as the California Department of Education provides the commission with updated numbers. More recently, that's been around March or April. So for best practice, high school districts and campuses should try to assign at least 2 staff for GPA uploads and GPA reporting and matching. It is a good practice for high schools to verify the name, address, the date of birth of students prior to uploading GPAs. This will help ensure accuracy of information and will reduce the number of manual GPA matches needed post-upload. GPA upload user guides, the demographic verification form, and GPA calculation instructions can be found on the CSAC homepage at the link listed above. Another resource we have is the demographic verification form. We highly suggest that you provide your high school seniors with this form so that they can list the last name, the first name, the date of birth, and the mailing address they're going to be using on their college application, such as their FAFSA, the California Dream Act application, and the different colleges they may be applying to. So next we're moving on to the GPA tools and the file layout. So preparing for the GPA upload. GPAs are uploaded via text files, right? That's a .txt. Some student information systems, such as Aries, produce an upload-ready GPA text file. If your system does not support this functionality prior to uploading, please refer to the Non-SSN GPA user guide for proper formatting. Import your GPA data using the Commission's Non-SSN GPA Excel template, and convert the Excel template to a text file. Please note that this is a technical process, and we highly encourage you to work with your IT department for support. So this is very important. The Non-SSN GPA template requires data to be entered into a very specific format. If even one field is formatted incorrectly, your upload attempt will fail. Therefore, you will want to reference the Non-SSN GPA Upload User Guide for the correct file layout specifications. You will likely need to modify and/or reformat some of the Excel data that you extract from your student information system to look like this layout. Let's go over the various fields of the file layout. We can see that some of the fields on the Excel template are required, while other fields, like the spring school code, are optional. Be sure to also pay close attention to the acceptable characters column and the maximum field length listed in the length column. For example, notice that the last name field allows a maximum of 19 letters, so you may need to shorten this field for students with 2 last names if it exceeds 19 characters. Please also format cells as text so Excel recognizes leading zeros. For example, school code, GPA if lower than 1.0, and potentially school and/or state student IDs, emails, and zip codes. Also notice that the graduation date and student date of birth fields require the date to be entered in the year, month, day format, a 4-digit year, 2-digit month, and 2-digit day. If the dates are entered in any other format, the file will be rejected. Similarly, the maximum length allowed for the last name field is 19 characters. So if the number of characters entered exceeds the maximum, the file will also be rejected. You may encounter this with hyphenated and/or dual last names. Please be very mindful of these requirements. We'll show you the Excel template in the next couple of slides. So now we're going to be moving on to creating the text file. Non-SSN GPAs are uploaded via the Commission's web grant system. There are 2 methods of upload: a batch upload, ideal for a large student population, or individual, manual GPA entries, when keying just a small number of GPAs. We will walk you through both upload methods, but we'll start with the batch upload process since that is the most common. For batch uploads, GPAs must be saved as a text.txt file before uploading to WebGrants. Some high school students' information management systems, such as Aries, may allow you to automatically save your GPAs as a text file, thus bypassing the need to use the template. If your student information management system does not allow you to extract your GPAs into a text file, it will be necessary to first import the GPA data into the Commission's macro-enabled Excel template. The template then uses built-in macros to convert into a text file to make it upload ready. To use the template, you will first need to enable editing. You can also rename the file. Now let's convert your Excel data into a text file. This is a condensed screenshot of what your Excel spreadsheet will look like once it's been populated with data. You are now ready to save this as a text file. Right-click on the school code column to format cells, and format cells as text. And you should also double-check formatting. Once you have confirmed that your spreadsheet is formatted correctly, you are ready to run the macro that is embedded within the Excel template. Running the macro will convert your spreadsheet data to a text file. Click the View tab to see the macros option. Then click Select View Macros. This will open the macro wizard. Macro enabled means that there is a mini program built into the spreadsheet. The macros format the data to help ensure that the text file meets the specification for upload acceptance. For example, the macros will autofill with hidden flags in areas where optional data is not provided, like the student's middle initial in column J. The student's middle initial is not required data, so if the field is left blank, the macros will autofill that field with a blank space to ensure that the data in that row will still align correctly. Please note if you are copying and pasting data directly into Excel versus importing it with a template, please be particularly mindful of formatting. Extra characters, including spaces, often cause misalignment of rows and columns and will cause the upload to fail. Selecting the Macros button opens the Macro dialog box. Choose Start Data Tools from the Macro Name option. You will need to scroll toward the bottom of the list to find this. Then select Run, because we want to run the macros. So by running Start Data Tools brings up this purple macro wizard. The first box will appear for a few seconds, followed by the box to the right. Choose the Save As Text File tab. Then use the drop-down to select the default name of blank data entry for your GPA file. Make sure to save the text file to a desired location on your computer, preferably to the same location where the Excel version of the data was saved. Once saved to your computer, you may change the name from blank data entry to another name of your choosing. And if you get to this point, that's great. You have successfully saved your text file. Your text file may look similar to this, although the exact view may differ, depending on the type of text file program you use. As you can see, all the data lines up nicely. You are now ready to upload your non-SSN GPA text file into WebGrants. So now we're going to be moving on to the testing and uploading of the text file. Users must obtain WebGrants access prior to uploading. So please see your campus WebGrants system administrator to request access. So now that you've formatted your Excel spreadsheet, let's test it out and upload it. To begin, from the portal menu, select WebGrants, then move on to Non-SSN GPA, and finally upload Non-SSN GPA. Choose your file from its saved location. Select the correct academic year in your school segment, for example, high school, college, or community college, and select Begin Upload. Please note selecting Begin Upload does not actually upload the file. It actually first tests the file for any invalid records, as a failsafe. Remember, if even one invalid record is found, WebGrants will not allow you to upload. Therefore, if you have invalid records, you may need to clean it up and retest your file multiple times until all invalid records are resolved. If there are any invalid records in your file, the Non-SSN GPA file upload status will tell you how many and which records are invalid. Notice that while both the number of total records and valid records is shown, the valid record will not be accepted if any one invalid record remains in the batch. Make sure to click View Invalid Records to identify the invalid records. In this example, record numbers 1, 2, and 9 are invalid. Notice the reject reasons, such as invalid record length, invalid zip code, and invalid GPA. Please note, you will find it much easier to correct invalid records within your Excel file versus a text file. After fixing the incorrect fields on your Excel spreadsheet, Rerun the macro to save the corrected data as a text file once again. Then go through the same upload process to test your connected file until 0 invalid records are returned. If your file contains multiple types of errors, you may need to clean up, resave, and retest your text files a few times to resolve all invalid records. So you've cleaned up your errors on your Excel template and you begin upload to retest the file. You can see that the Non-SSN GPA file upload status window now displays 0 invalid records. As a note, users often think that the invalid record 0 pop-up is an upload confirmation, so don't forget to submit records to complete the upload process. Upon successful batch upload, WebGrants will display a pop-up confirmation of the upload, including the batch number. Before exiting this screen, you may print a confirmation report of your upload. You will also receive a confirmation via email, unless your email system has a firewall that blocks emails sent from CSAC. Alternately, 24 hours after upload, you can retrieve your GPA upload report by going to WebGrants, clicking on Data Transfer, and Report Downloads. Then you will see the Non-SSN GPA school upload reports. So now we're going to be moving into the manual GPA submission. This is going to be for all the additional students that weren't in that initial batch. When using the Add Non-SSN GPA screen, be aware of the impact to the award cycles. Pay attention to any on-screen messages. This message indicates that the GPA was being added after the March 2nd deadline. Only GPAs submitted by March 2nd are applied to the high school and transfer entitlement award cycles. GPAs submitted after March 2nd are applied to the September 2nd competitive award cycle. All fields with a red asterisk are required. However, adding optional data will improve your chances for a match. When manually adding a GPA after March 2nd, it will be applied to the September 2nd competitive award cycle. The September 2nd cycle is for community college students who submit a FAFSA or California Dream Act application. And finally, we're going to go over some next steps. So you made it this far. You've uploaded your GPAs, but your job is not done. What's next? For students who do not self-certify their high school grad date on WebGrants for Students, you must verify on their behalf by August 31st. Starting October 1st, you need to begin the process of linking unmatched GPAs. It is the high school's responsibility to link unmatched GPAs to the correct financial aid application. Students with unmatched GPAs will never be awarded. It is important to work reports and edit and/or match GPAs weekly. Do not wait until the March 2nd deadline because if you need help from school support, the phone lines are usually very busy and wait times to speak to a CSAC representative are very long. Students with unmatched GPAs will not be awarded. A financial aid application without a linked GPA will not be processed, and it sits in pending status indefinitely. This is because the linked GPA is what triggers WebGrants to process a FAFSA or California Dream Act application. So remember, a FAFSA or California Dream Act application plus a matched GPA is what puts a student in qualification for Cal Grant. And finally, we're going to talk about some resources, just real quick. To sign up for our listserv and receive operation memos and special alerts directly to your email, navigate to our homepage and scroll all the way to the bottom of the screen, the Subscribe to CSAC Important Updates option. By clicking here, you'll select the listservs you can sign up for. Only the ones that you check are the ones that will be sent your way. So after putting your name in, your email address in, and selecting the listservs you would like to receive notifications about, just enter in the CAPTCHA and submit. The Commission offers many types of training, including recorded and live webinars and the annual High School Counselor Workshop Series, now referred to as the Statewide Financial Aid Workshop Series. Navigate to the csac.ca.gov webpage, choose for schools and counselors, trainings, and choose either the recorded webinars or register for a live one. Thank you for watching this webinar, and if you have any questions, please give a call to our institutional support unit at 888-294-0153 or by emailing them at schoolsupport@csac.ca.gov.